morning. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Google tool Google Forms with an add-on called Appender. I've used this a lot with my reading conferences in my ELA classroom. It could also be helpful, I could see, with RTI documentation or even PLC documentation. And it's just a way to organize the information. So what happens when you use a typical Google form is that it takes your information and it puts it into an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, as you can see, this is really difficult to read, and it's not super useful for me as a teacher to be like this. So what this app does is it's going to put it into a nice Google Doc. So if you look, instead of the Excel spreadsheet, it's going to make it into the Google Doc, and it's going to look a lot prettier and it's a lot easier to read and use. And as you can see, I was kind of just testing up here. So the way I do it, it takes those same things that were in the Google form, the timestamp, group name, the understandings, improvement, their scores, and then it puts it into a document. And it's just a lot easier for me as a teacher to use and see information in an organized way. So then when it comes time for conferences, I can print off either the group or the individual conference running record, essentially. And then if the parents had questions, I could talk with them about, what I noticed that they were understanding or missing. So I'm going to show you that today quickly, how to set that up. So the first thing you're going to do, I'm going to pretend like I don't have any of this made. So that you can see step by step how to set this up. So the first thing you need to do is create a new folder. The folder I had before was called Reading Conferences, so I'm just going to name this Reading Conferences number 2 so that I know that this is the not real one. So I created that folder. You can see it popped up. Now this is where the time-consuming part comes in for the initial setup of it. If you are going to set up for individual students, you have to create a blank Google Doc for each student. If you're doing for book clubs, then you would create a blank Google Doc for each book club. Or, RTI, same thing. Each individual student you would need its own, would need their own document. So I'm going to, for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you how to do this for if I was doing book clubs. So I'm creating these blank documents. All I'm going to do in the title is put the group name, so Book Club 1. And then it's going to pop up here, another blank document. Book Club 2. It'll again pop up there. I'll do one more just so that you can see. Book Club 3. Oops. And you can see they're all blank documents. Okay, so that's the first step. The next step is you're going to want to actually create your Google form. Now I'm going to go to my form. First thing you want to do is title it. So this is my group, my book club discussions. So I'm titling it that. My first question was the group name, because that's how it's going to sort my information. I make this a drop down because I think that's easier. So then again, I'm going to put Book Club 1 or whatever the book club's name is. Book Club 2. Book Club 3. And it's a drop down when it finishes. You want to make sure you make your questions required, or you might be like me and submit the form before you filled in all the information you need, and then it just doesn't make it as efficient. So then I made my question required. I have my options. Now I'm going to add my next question. So the next thing on my form, if you remember, was the group understandings. And here for my conferences, I just take they'll sit down and discuss, and then I know, what is it that they're understanding about their reading and what are they doing really well. I always make it a paragraph because I tend to be a little wordy, and then I can type while they discuss. So I make it required, add my next question. The next one was areas of improvement. Again, this is where during the discussion, if I notice I'm having to bring up different things about their reading or ask or really prompt them to find more information, then I would put that I need to teach a little mini lesson with that group about whatever skill it was. So then I'll note that here. Okay, then I'll add my next one. Then I just have, this would be the journal scores. They get a grade for their reading response. Journal, I'm going to keep it paragraph just so that I have more room. So I forgot to make that required. And so then here I would take each individual's name. I'd type their name. I haven't found a better way to do that really. Type their name, and then as they're discussing, I also have their journals. I'm looking at their journals, looking at their level of understanding, and then they get a score based on that. Then the last one would be the discussion score, and it's the same thing. I type the student's name based on their level of discussion. They get a score, and then I record that in here. Make that required. Double check. Yep. Okay. So now my form is finished. And now I want to go into the responses. You want to create that spreadsheet. You're not really using the spreadsheet. You're just doing it so that it starts sorting the information. So go ahead, you hit the green button and then you click create. So now it's making that form that is really hard to use, to be honest, unless it's just raw numbers. So it's created that. You've got your form. Now is the part where you want to go to your form and you're going to add the add-on that's going to sort the information into your Google Docs. So the first thing you're going to have to do probably is go to add-ons, which is the little three dots. You click on that, go to add-ons, and you want to search for Doc Appender. Okay, here it is. It's free. Mine says manage because I've already downloaded it. You would hit, download or whatever it says, and then it's going to go to, as one of your add-ons. So then a puzzle piece will pop up on your form, and you can see this is where all of the add-ons go. I just have Doc Appender right now. So then if I click Doc Appender, open sidebar, it's going to pop up, and now is where I'm telling it this is what I want you to sort the information into. So it's saying what folder are you sorting this to? So I'm going to pick from my drive. Here's that folder, Reading Conferences 2. So you don't want to double click this folder because then you can't hit select. When you double click it, it's looking for more folders within that folder. And I made that mistake and got real confused and had to call the tech guy. So if you just click and highlight the folder, then hit select, then it's choosing that folder from your Google Drive. Okay, and there you can see it's selected. So now I'm going to hit next. Now it's asking you what question are you wanting to populate all of your information with. So you have to hit refresh list so that it'll pull the question up. The only question that I have multiple choice or a drop down is the group name, so it's easy. There's not a lot of choice for me. But if you do use a lot of multiple choice things, then those will pop up and you want to pick which one do you want it sorted by. The group name is how I want mine sorted, so that makes it a little bit easier to read. So now I selected that question. I'm going to hit save and populate and hit next. Now it's saying which of your questions do you want on this form? And I'm going to click them all. I really like the timestamp because when you hit submit, it timestamps to show what was the date, the time, and all of that information. Then you get to pick how do you want this information organized. If you remember in my previous sheet that I showed you, it was organized into a table, and I like that fine, but I also like the bulleted list is kind of nice. So that the paragraphing, because even with the table, when I start typing paragraphs, it kind of gets lengthy, but with the bulleted list, it keeps it a little nicer. So now I've selected how I wanted it organized. I'm going to hit enable. and then it should be saved and ready to go. Close that out. If I go to the preview button, this is what the form's going to look like. So now it should go right into that document. So if I hit Book Club 1, Group Understandings, I hit They Understand a Lot. Areas of Improvement, looking for themes, it's a common one. Then journal scores, I would hit whatever they got. Bobby got a 4. Susie got a 2. And discussion scores, same thing. Bobby, and then I put their score. He got a 2 for the discussion. Susie got a 4. Okay, my form's finished. So now I hit submit. And now if I go back into that same folder, here's their document, and I click on it. Here is that information that I just put in, but it looks a lot nicer than having to look at that Excel spreadsheet. So again, you can organize it in a bulleted list. That was one option. Or I'll show you the original one. I've used the table. And after using the table and the list, I kind of like the list a little better just because of this paragraphing here. It does make the document get a little lengthier if you get wordy like I tend to do. One last thing that I wanted to share is, you know, a lot of times if you're an ELA teacher and you work in book clubs, you understand that there's a lot of movement within your groups. And so that's kind of a question that could come up is, well, what if my groups change? Well, on my document previously, you could see I had students' names listed. So if you want to change that, you just would change your document's title. And then you go into that form, open the doc appender. Oh, that's the published form. Go into the doc appender, and then you just have to repopulate and do the same thing that you already did. So again, you change your documents here. You go to your form, if I can find the right tab here. You change the names here, and then you just go through the same process again, and it resaves the information so that it's accurate. I hope that this tool will help you in the future with either your student conferring or PLC work or maybe RTI. Thanks for listening.